In a complex world full of demands on our time and energy, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters most or become distracted by the urgent rather than the important. Seeking moments of clarity in the chaos, many turn to the ancient wisdom of Stoic philosophy for timeless insights on leading focused, principled lives anchored by inner purpose and integrity. This resilience of vision amidst swirling change begins with priority, consciously ordering personal values, goals, relationships and daily efforts, so they align to our highest values regardless of outside pressures. Stoicism offers numerous psychological strategies grounded in reason and virtue for setting firm priorities that drive action while still permitting flexibility in plans. In this video, we will explore 10 key Stoic mindset shifts and exercises for establishing priority in any circumstance. You will learn how to identify deeply held values, set ambitious yet attainable goals and milestones, structure focus around personal areas of control, manage emotional responses, and remain steadfast when challenges arise. These enduring psychological tools strengthen resilience and free us to engage each moment from a centered place of wise intention and conviction. Strategy 1. Clarify your values. The first step in applying Stoic strategies to set proper priorities is identifying your highest personal values and ethics. These profound principles steer life's course beyond chasing short-term gains. By consciously clarifying virtues you prize and wish to embody, action aligns to the service of moral good. Begin by looking inward to codify principles driving perceived purpose. What fundamental beliefs frame your worldview? Do pillars like justice, truth, community, and excellence hold meaning? How do constructs of right speech, ethical duty, and honorable conduct factor in self-judgment? Make an ordered list of core virtues underpinning your best self. Next, examine whether daily realities reflect stated values. If family bonds matter most but schedules crowd out meaningful connection, recalibrate for alignment. When work feels draining but finances limit change, investigate origins of fulfillment. If health declines under stress but fears sabotage restoration, examine resultant suffering. Clarify values by questioning lack of adherence. Finally, revisit motivations behind goals, big and small, in light of clarified principles. If accolades, wealth, or prestige drive over intrinsic growth, realign efforts to serve ethical aims. By continually checking ambition and action against wisdom, once obscured, progress stays tethered to the moral high ground, held as absolute priority. Strategy 2. Define your purpose. With clarified personal ethics giving ballast, next lend form to deeply rooted purpose, revealed when surface desires and duties fall away. This sense of personal mission, reaching towards some future vision, connects mundane movement to transcendent meaning. In stillness, ask why you walk this earth in this era. What possible legacy prompts you from dreams into the arena of action? Envision the end of life's road. How might you wish humanity judged imprints left by your passage? By naming the change wished for, daily choice gains context. Do threads of talent, skill sets gained, and passions felt hint at destiny awaiting activation? Inventory resources and optimize deployment towards service and actualization. Locat pain pushing for alleviation. Seek redemption, minor memory, and imagination until covert purpose glitters obviously as gold, demanding excavation, with higher aims rising irresistibly to view. Create containers for their achievement. Establish objectives, systematize plans, ordain philosophy into declaration. Then attack distraction siege by recalling purpose when priorities wander. No achievement endures bereft of purpose's protective tether with it. No obstacle permanence holds against determined ascent. Strategy 3. Set proper goals. With clarified values illuminating life's purpose, actively establish supportive goals demonstrating committed progress. Let objective markers guide consistent action aligned with realization of stirring inner vision. Begin by defining a single, ambitious, long-term aim. Then break into logical stepping stones requiring stages of growth. Set deadline targets, sponsoring self-accountability while permitting flexibility, responding to life's variable flow. Let keystone and milestones stand lit along the path, maintaining incentive through long campaigns of applied effort. When setting a range of motion toward critical targets, reject rigid perfectionism. Adopt radical self-compassion for humanness. Set achievable increments that incrementally move markers while upholding space for self-care when strength falters. Balance lofty benchmarking with loving reality checks to ease unnecessary suffering en route. Finally, codify formal structures upholding established goals, translating high thought into habitual actualization. Craft schedules, cementing respect for outlined objectives. Systematize reminders, shared access for supporters, and review mechanisms to embed achievement into routine practice. Strategy 4. Structure routines. With explicit goals etched on the horizon, construct reliable routines and procedures for their systematic achievement. Anchor objectives into daily form through habits upholding disciplined action amidst flux of demands. Begin mapping schedule infrastructure, equally apportioning attention to set goal domains to secure steady gains. Assign specific blocks for development activity. Exercise dims without calendars, committing sweat. Words escape, unwritten, absent, engraved writing sessions. Cut objectives week-long for reliable return. Standardize supportive practices into habitual rhythms. Establish trigger cues, prompting useful rituals. Morning meditations sustain equanimity. Signing off devices enables timely sleep. Repeat time behaviors until they flow unconsciously to serve settled aims. Finally, systematize reminders to reinforce resolve when distraction vies for priority. Post inspirations, share commitments publicly, automate digital alerts toggling attention when targets summon action amid the mundane. By embedding achievement architecture throughout common days, aspirations stand fortified against bounds of routine. Strategy 5. Focus on your sphere of control. When working toward realization of purpose through properly structured goals and habits, sustain emotional resilience by narrowing focus to situational aspects within personal influence rather than fixating on uncontrollable external variables. Begin by objectively mapping key elements of any circumstance directly impacted by your response. Within relationships, commit to understanding. Within hardship, to courage. Within opportunity, to preparation, directing attention to self-mastery instead of circumstances themselves. Give no thought to factors residing outside agency. Detach attachment to specific outcomes. Release rigid assumptions of how life should unfold. Dismiss nothing as entirely beyond subtle influence through adjusted approaches, invocation or surrender. Stay attentive to nuances subject to willful navigation. When emotional storms or setbacks nonetheless intrude through walls of resolve, reinforce impervious interior citadels by mentally retreating to spheres under sovereign direction. Here alone lies power to determine optimal next action regardless of conditions dictated by an indifferent universe. Strategy 6. Manage emotional responses. As Stoics know, while external realities exceed control, responding to events with reason instead of unbridled reaction determines experience of life quality regardless of circumstance. Monitor self-talk and feeling states to uphold priorities. When disruptive emotions overwhelm sound judgment, first acknowledge their voice rather than silencing cries in futile repression. Note anger, anxiety, and doubt when arising without shame at inner chaos. The storm itself does no damage. Surrender to its trajectory does by obscuring navigation. With mindfulness, name emotional undercurrents, release attachment to their permanence, breathe, walk, wait until they flow to resolution, as all states must. Know even this roiling too shall pass. Engage response only when waters calm to transparency. When ready to act, amid clarity regained, let logic guide next action, upholding priority amid emotions' headwinds. Was the reaction excessive to the actual threat? Does planned recourse uphold integrity or impulse? What merits reasonable redress? In stillness lies vision to view storms from a wise perspective. By allowing feeling states to rise, crest, and recede at their own measured pace without identifying with their narrative, events lose power to divert predetermined courses charted toward goals held through all weathering. Strategy 7. Cultivate objectivity. To intentionally steer life's path by priorities compassed through adversity and ambiguity alike. Adopt habits examining circumstances, assumptions, and beliefs with ruthless objectivity. Approach situations with analysis grounded in reality, not projections or ego. Before reacting, list concrete impacts verified through evidence. Challenge magnified claims by aligning them to facts substantiated. Where fears took root, highlight supporting data. Even when truth cuts identity deep, let honesty direct action. Question long-held assumptions that limit efforts toward excellence. Do negative self-narratives like, "I'm not creative," or "I can't handle hard conversations," stand confirmed by outcomes, or contradict them? Strike down false limits by tallying contrary proof as it accumulates through courageous action. Finally, scrutinize whether reactions reveal irrational reasoning or stand consistent with principles. Are you applying double standards, prioritizing pleasure over ethics, justifying errors aligned more to desire than wisdom, ignoring sound counsel that contradicts preference? Surface blind spots. Let truth set consistent priority. Strategy 8. Practice intentional preparation. Cultivate resilience and uphold priorities through difficulty by regularly preparing for challenges and setbacks before onset. Mentally rehearse desired responses to potential threats rising along the path, securing potent perspective and behavioral agility when adversity strikes. Visualize scenarios which could upend progress, project delays, resource constraints, interpersonal conflicts. Then, mentally walk through ideal, tranquil responses, maximizing desired aims. Repeat with layered nuance, growing facility meeting, theoretical disruption with unflappable virtue, allowing priorities forward march. Use natural pauses to reflect and evaluate plans, choices, and assumptions against cherished outcomes sought in mid-journey. Recalibrate bearings by current stars instead of outdated maps when veering off course. Nurture ability to take wise time out before turmoil necessitates emergency intervention. By writing desired futures vividly into present imagination, clarity and conviction, channel crippling anxiety into active assurance when crisis appears on a horizon line, predicted exactly as seen. Calm focus meets turmoil, knowing no surrender of priority stands mandated by unexpected ambush. The prepared heart perseveres. Strategy 9. Strengthen self-governance. While routines embed supportive practices and preparation arms for adversity's strike, sustaining priorities amid unrelenting demands and difficult emotions ultimately depends on self-governance, an inward system upholding self-imposed discipline regardless of external reinforcement or conditions. Begin governing from a poised inner citadel through practices expanding consciousness of thought patterns and emotional states without identifying with or condemning their arrival. Awareness grants space, intentionally responding over impulse when triggers threaten established priorities. Extend governance by naming assumptions that spark reactions, then questioning their certainty before acting. Are projected outcomes guaranteed? Do others' motives match perception? Is there an opportunity to seek win-win understanding? Suspend judgment until inquiry spots overlay limiting truth. Finally, call on wisdom accumulated from teachers, texts, and trials faced to continually guide reflection. Knowing lived experience offers expanding insight if examined for latent counsel. The resilient self keeps close company with those mentors who walked nobly before, real and mythic. Their mission reminds why priorities stand vital when storms collected along freedom's frontier. Volunteer surrender. Instead, let each crisis strengthen self-mastery and vision cleared by passing squalls. Strategy 10. Maintain perspective. On journeys without evident landmarks or guaranteed routes, respecting no timeline save death's horizon, glimpsed intermittent when labor falters, maintaining perspective on priorities guides feet sure-footed through defeating terrain. Revisit core values and defining purpose when distraction or despair dims commitment's flame. Recall transcendent intention, feather possibility's arrow, and lose it beyond false divides, separating this stumble from eventual flight. Stay trained on vision, not validation. Likewise, in throes of mob mentality, recall humanity's long arc tilting, however crooked toward justice, slowly straightened by sacrificial hands across centuries, consenting to changes coming at glacial pace. Cling to faith in incremental redemption when contempt for wicked systems tastes bitter as bile. Righteous purpose kneels to no tyrant without protest or weary resignation either. When individual goals challenged by limitations of resource and scope and feeble resolve, threaten surrender, stand fast, remembering countless small, courageous steps compound inevitability into movements, sweeping aside stubborn walls in the fullness of time. Take heart and play your pound of pressure to impact history's wide sea. No wave in the making goes entirely without changing. In all seasons, nourish perspective through the lens of resilience tested, purpose purified, and the promise of emerging possibility. However long the night, daybreak ever faithfully returns hope to the world's darkened hall. Recall this when shadows whisper false prophecy. A new sun dawns, and priority perseveres to meet it upright, undimmed. The enduring wisdom of Stoic philosophy offers timeless psychological tools for cutting through the complexities of life to connect with what matters most. By internalizing just a few of the essential strategies outlined here for continual self-inquiry, integrity-based goal setting, emotional regulation, and principle-driven action, you can transform distraction into direction. Clarity of priorities acts as a compass, directing daily choice such that progress flows consciously rather than based on whatever crisis captures attention at the moment. Consider adopting a consistent evening ritual, reviewing the day in the spirit of mindful alignment, or schedule periodic check-ins to revisit whether routine behaviors still ladder up to core personal values and life purpose revealed in stillness. The applications are endless, but the imperative stands clear: prioritize or be prioritized. Stephen Covey wisely noted that we control our schedules, or they control us. Through Stoic practice, we rescind this tyranny over attention and time by willful order and remain master of our fate, regardless of swirling circumstances. May the strategies shared here in service of intentional living ripple out as beacons of light for all those still adrift without inner constellations yet mapped to steer by. For once discovered, the revelation of priority becomes a sacred responsibility to the steward rather than squander. By living purposefully awake to each moment, our very existence bends the moral arc of the universe toward wisdom. Let that urgent call give priority to this day and the next.